Finish line will be crossed at third gear 165 at a 2 minutes 16.6. Well, we're just moments away from getting this 2-hour race underway here at Spa-Francorchamps. But I'm going to go down to the interview booth and have a chat with a couple of drivers, some familiar names that you might recognise. So let's go and have a chat with them. Well, I'd like to welcome both Chris Pinchbeck and Dave Hedges to the interview booth here. Chris, looking very, very good in the number 43 Audi, running in the top 6. I think you qualified 6th at the end of that session, but it's been quite nice you getting behind the wheel of the Audi and giving it a go, and it seems to have come to you a little bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, I love the Audi, mate. I really do. I'd be honest with you, I thought I'd be a little bit higher in qualifying, but I had a bit of a outrageous outlap, so wasn't too good. But no, it's good being back in the Audi, mate.
So by outrageous outlap, do you mean that you say you had an off, did you? Or did you have a bit of a moment that you didn't really want to talk about?
Yeah.
Well, Chris, all the very best of luck this evening for our 2-hour enduro. You looking forward to it here at Spa? It's always a good one, isn't it?
Oh, it's my favourite. I can't wait. It should be good. If we all get through all route fine, it should be interesting.
I'll just wait until everyone gets through through Les Combes, first of all, after the Camel Straight. Then at least we can be safe for another hour and probably 58.5 minutes or something like that. Dave Hedges, really good qualifying session, but Archie Clifford Roberts again sticks it on pole once more. What is it that you need? What is it that you need to do to try and sort of throw a curveball in his general direction? It's difficult to say, isn't it?
Block him all the qualifying, probably.
I think the stewards would have something to say about that, buddy.
Yeah, he's in a different league at the minute. To be fair to him, we're obviously operating a very similar setup, and he's obviously 5 tenths quicker. So difficult, but obviously the race is a different thing. We should have a good strategy, hopefully. It's obviously going to be quite interesting going through the night, and it's going to get quite cold.
Well, Dave, all the very best of luck this evening. Let's see if you can give Archie a run for his money.
Thanks, Alex.
Spa-Francorchamps, 120 minutes, 2 hours around the fearsome 7.004 kilometre circuit. Steve, I did say to, I think it was to Chris, saying, well, as long as everyone gets through to Les Combes on the first lap, we'll be absolutely fine. That kind of seems to be our mantra these days, doesn't it? As soon as they get through turn 1, we can breathe a big sigh of relief.
Yeah, well, I learnt my lesson very early on with my commentating career with yourself. If you may remember, a couple of tracks I said, yep, they've got through those corners, and then lo and behold, there was contact in the next corner. So yeah, we give it 2 or 3 corners, and then we breathe easy and we start saying how well they've done. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult one, because some of them will be going down into a Rouge 3 wide, and obviously there's only really room for 1 car through there. I have seen 2 cars go side by side, but it doesn't always end very well.
Well, we'll see what happens over the next 2 hours. It is going to be one hell of a show. So strap on in, grab a hold of something, and if you've got a beer and some popcorn, you're in for one hell of a treat.
So Archie Clifford Roberts again extends his championship lead. He takes another 5 points from a pole position here at Spa. And if I'm honest with you, we have 3 more rounds to go. We have Laguna Seca in a couple of weeks. We have Catalunya at Barcelona on the 11th of October. And then the 2-hour season finale at Le Castellet at Circuit Paul Ricard on the 25th of October. Steve, you know, we've got like well over 7 hours worth of racing action, not including qualifying, over tonight and the next 3 rounds. This is a race that could change the dynamic. I have one of those, I have a bit of a feeling in my gut that something could really change something tonight. And at Spa-Francorchamps, driving through the night, that is where, as you said, temperatures are going to drop. Tyre pressures, they're going to have to work with them, not against them. And also, the fact of going from daytime to nighttime as well, even in a virtual reality setting, it is still very, very close to the real thing, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, and you know, I personally, when I race, I use VR, and when you go into night in VR, it is real to you. That's it. You know, your concentration is 110% because it is so realistic. And like you say, dealing with those tyre pressures, the temperatures, and everything else that's going to be thrown at them, not to mention all the other cars on track and the battling for positions, it's going to be a tough one. But the championship table could change dramatically tonight because let's not forget we've got Steve Haley missing, we've got Aaron Walker missing. You know, a couple of the guys there that are usually in the top 6 week in week out. They're not attending for various reasons this evening. They're on nights off, but there's an opportunity for some of the guys to make up some points.
Well, looks like we are about to get things underway. Archie Clifford Roberts has Lukasz Kakos alongside on the front row. Are we about to go green here at Spa? It's a case of wait for it, blink and you'll miss it. So it's getting to be those psychological mind games. Let's see, do we go lights out? Well, the red lights have yet to change to green. So it's down to the system software here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. And now going to head through to La Source. This is where things start to get interesting. We go down the hill. They start to form up into their 2x2 rolling start formation for 120 minutes. That's 2 hours here at Spa-Francorchamps, heading into Eau Rouge. For the first time, lights are green. We are off and racing. A great start by Archie Clifford Roberts, but Lukasz Kakos in the Lamborghini trying to keep alongside with him, but slots in behind. A couple of cars going a little bit wide, going through the part of Eau Rouge into Radillon as we head to the Kemmel Straight for the first time. But now, Lukasz Kakos in the Barwell Motorsport Lamborghini Huracan trying to pull alongside Archie Clifford Roberts as they go down the straight. Down into Licom for the first time. Great start there by Archie Clifford Roberts, but Lukasz Kakos in the Lamborghini, Steve, had an absolute brilliant one of his own.
Yeah, it really gave Archie a run for his money down the straight there, and Archie sort of did well to just to hang on to it, and he didn't fluster him. He just kept his line, kept his position, and Lucas will be foot to the metal now and clinging on, and Dave Hedges in third place in close attendance as well. So a great start from the guys. I think we can say that we've gone round enough corners now. So yeah, well done, boys.
I didn't want to jinx it, but it looks like Regan Mitchell has got past James Hartnell for position. So the 69 Black Falcon Mercedes AMG GT3 now up into 4th place. For those wondering, on the left-hand side of your screen, you've got the white numbers represent Pro, the grey numbers represent Silver, and the red ones represent AM drivers. But also the column to the right-hand side. Now, here's a little replay. And in the middle of this, there looks to be Mark Neuterlings there for a second. I think that might have just been a little bit of a, not too sure what happened there, but I'm sure that we'll get any replays as when Mike Yao, our broadcast director from Simply Race, a big thank you to them once again for putting on such a great live stream that we've been enjoying both in ACC Season 3 for GT3 and also Season 2 has its second round next Wednesday evening
It's all looking a little bit feisty in that top 6. They're all obviously very close together. They're separated by a few tenths, and everyone is battling for position while we've got some daylight left. As we just see James Hartle trying to take Regan back on the inside there, and I think he's going about just to get that move done. But has he got the pace to get through Eau Rouge now?
Yeah, down the hill they come at around 4th gear, 245 kilometres an hour. That's over 150 miles an hour as Regan Mitchell still manages to keep it through, but runs a little bit wide. That allows Chris Pinchbeck to go towards the inside, and Chris Crossman in the number 3 Porsche 911 GT3R 991-2 as they head down to Les Combes and through. That was a brilliant opportunistic move there by Chris Pinchbeck, whose other half, Gene, is cheering him on like the clappers. And I think, Gene, that definitely did work in Chris's favour. So Chris Pinchbeck now up into 5th position, and through one corner, Regan Mitchell drops 2 places down to 7th, now behind the number 3 Porsche of Chris Crossman. Dean Riley, Rich Smith and Adam Isolovic round out the top 10 so far, but that was a great move from Chris Pinchbeck, wasn't it?
It was absolutely awesome. Chris Crossman as well. Obviously, everybody was in really close attendance of each other, so all it takes is one little lift there, and I think Regan had to lift just going through Eau Rouge. I think he probably got a warning for track limits there as well, because that's the other thing we're all going to have to contend with this evening is, obviously 3 cuts and then it's a penalty, it's a drive-through. Just to mention that Jean is Chris's mum, so he's got the support of his mum.
My apologies there, Jean. My apologies there. As soon as you see the name, you can't. I can't. I'll just go. I'll just say the name from now on. My bad. My apologies. It's been, as I said to Steve, it's been a long day.
You weren't to know, mate. You weren't to know.
Oh well, it is. These things do happen. Mistakes do get made, and I'm more than happy to hold my hands up.
But Chris is putting on a good show tonight, and hopefully, he'll make his mum proud. As Chris Crossman's coming back under pressure now from Regan Mitchell, but Regan's just eased off there and giving him a bit of space. But he's certainly not giving up on that position.
So within the first 5 minutes, we are now into local time of 7:27 p.m. So very soon we will have darkness hit the 7.004 kilometre circuit here in Stavelot at Spa-Francorchamps as they come down the hill towards Eau Rouge and Radillon once again. And just the commitment. I mean, I just saw Dave Hedges go up there like a cat jumping up on a set of guttering. It's just literally the car just flew up there.
It's almost like there's no commentary required when they're going through Eau Rouge. It's breathtaking. It really is the commitment, like you say. See Regan's his dad. Is that going to work? Is he going to get the comeback? No, he's just.
He tried squeezing Chris going through the first part of Les Combes, kept it around the outside, but he still was within track limits. So Regan Mitchell, very, very wise. So he knows that the Porsche is a bit of a sitting duck when you're in a Mercedes AMG GT3 as they go down the hill once again. Great onboard shots here.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be playing on Chris Crossman's mind. Is obviously he's got to really nail it through Eau Rouge and Radillon to get the speed on the Camel Straight to try and make it as hard as he possibly can for Regan, because he knows that Mercedes is going to have the legs on him. But yeah, great defensive driving from Chris as well. He left Regan just enough room.
Yeah, looks like Mr. Lindsay down in the number 21 Porsche has actually pitted. Now, there are 2 mandatory pit stops required in this race. Fuel is mandatory, but tyres are optional. But with the circuit as abrasive and hard going as Spa-Francorchamps, these drivers will need to monitor the tyre pressures, monitor the degradation over time, because once the tyres get colder, and as the race progresses onwards, if the tyre temperature goes down, the brake temperature goes down. That then affects the handling of the car braking in a straight line to, say, for instance, going down the Camel Straight into Les Combes or into the bus stop chicane, as we see now, as Regan Mitchell being closed in on by Dean Riley in the number 2 Tempesta Ferrari 488 GT3 as Regan Mitchell looking towards the outside of Chris Crossman, trying to possibly get the switch back through into La Source.
Yeah,
But-
Chris just went a little bit deep into the chicane, which gave Regan the opportunity to close right up on him and put him where he is now, which is not ideal for Chris now as they go through Eau Rouge. He's going to be under real pressure now, and I expect to see Regan trying to get the slipstream and then draw alongside him.
Well, it looks like we've had a stop go 30s. Oh, now who was that off the track? Who was that off the track on the right-hand side? And was that a back marker trying to get through it, trying to keep out of the way? As Lindsay has now got a stop go 30. Yeah, so that might have been Lindsay coming out of the pit lane and had to quickly avoid, but he's got a stop go 30. I think possibly for speeding in the pits as a result of that, or possibly a track limit infringement. But Regan Mitchell not giving Chris Crossman any opportunity to breathe. And now Dean Riley is coming into this, Steve. And we're only nearly 8 minutes completed.
Yeah, it's all very close and very hectic, and if it's going to be 2 hours of this, then the guys are certainly going to be sweating at the end of it, regardless of what temperature it is on the server. Just on that point though, the server track temperature has dropped a couple of degrees already since the start of this race, so the temperature's going to start coming into play very soon, and like you said earlier, affecting the tyre pressures and the brake temps. So things are going to start changing very soon.
Actually, coming on to that, Steve, you've timed that pretty well. Out of the cars that we actually have out on the circuit at the moment, which I know that some will struggle more than others, but are there some that might be able to mitigate these changes in atmospherics that could help them to move a little bit further forward as Gianluca De Luca gets past Joao Diaz and Reese Wiggin? Now, obviously, I'm not too sure. It looks like they've had an incident as Reese Wiggin off the track. In the 667 Optimum Motorsport McLaren 720S. I wonder if Reese has actually got damage, and if there was an incident between him and Joao Diaz, I'd very much be interested to find out.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. It's whether they were both going very, very slow, like you say, and it was a parting of the waves to let the other two cars through. So I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean the guys could be picking up damage anywhere as we're seeing. Is that Diaz going into the pits? I believe it was.
Well, that looked like a Porsche to me. No, that's Lindsay serving the stop go 30.
Okay.
But yeah, coming back to what we were saying before I saw that, but all the cars have their, we know that they have their very different BOP regulations on each vehicle. But out of the cars, from your own experience through ACC, are there any particular ones that tend to sort of stand out in the night time, especially at such a difficult circuit like Spa?
In the night time, no. It has to be said no, because it's the setups are so personal that you can alter the setup to put more heat into the tires. You can make it so it's a more forgiving setup, a more aggressive setup. When I say aggressive, it can be harder on the tires, gentler on the tires. Everything's a compromise. The difference would be if we got any rain, and then you would have to say, such as the Lexus is renowned for being pretty good in the wet weather and things like that. That comes into its own. But for general setups on dry conditions, then no, the changing conditions will affect everybody slightly differently. But it's more based on how they've got the car set up rather than what the car is.
Well, it looks like Jean has had a laugh at my expense. She said, "No apologies needed, guys," and then the emojis run wild. Thank you, Jean, for that. Really, that's put a smile on my face, you saying that. So, well, as they say, Steve, if you can't have a laugh at yourself, life ain't worth living.
Absolutely not, mate.
So, looks like Paul Lindsay's actually he's taken one of his mandatory stops anyway. So, possibly to fuel up, maybe because obviously with if you have a major off-track excursion, you can actually flat spot these tires, can't you, Steve, through the dynamics of the game itself. And if you ruin a set of tires, then you're gonna have to go, well, I might as well pit for tires, maybe I'll pit for fuel as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can indeed driving aggression and it affects the tyres. You will feel vibrations through the wheel. It will make you more likely to lock the brakes up more once you've got a flat spot on those tyres. So yeah, the physics of the game are very, very realistic. So that's something the drivers will have in mind, is about how aggressive they're being, because while we're talking about the pit stops, I personally think, and having spoken to a couple of the drivers, the fastest strategy tonight, any damage to one side, will be pitting on the hour for tyres. and then just doing another pit stop where you take literally a litre of fuel just to do it as quick as you can. That's going to be the fastest strategy this evening. Obviously, if they get damaged, things will change because they may have to pit to repair.
Well, it looks like the Adam Isalovic fan club has started to arrive as Sreko Novakovic goes, go Isalovic, hammer time. Well, nicely put, but unfortunately, he's not in a Mercedes, he's in a Ferrari. Sorry,
Yeah,
just
talking of Ferraris, I mean, we're looking at James Hartnell at just a few moments ago. He's really putting the pressure on Chris Finchbeck. But yeah, like you say, Adam's in the thick of it as well. 3 cars there, all tucked up behind each other. Mark Neutlin's in there as well, another seasoned regular within Simsport. So all having a good race. It's great to see.
good to see Jeffrey Wolf in the 86 car guy Ferrari. Just off of them as well. There is James Hartnell in the 168. He was our race winner at the hour-long encounter at Monza a few weeks ago, which Archie Clifford Roberts decided not to partake in. We did already talk about those reasons a little while ago. Not tonight, but obviously on the Monza and the post-Monza broadcast as well. So James Hartnell, I think he does have an opportunity. You know, he's shown good pace, he's shown good consistency, and when he puts the lap times together, Steve, he can be one of those drivers that does have that chance. And you know, look at how close he is to Dave Hedges. I mean, Hedges hasn't been able to get away in any sort of respect from the 168 Ferrari.
No, he hasn't. I mean, within that, with them having their own little battle there, that's Lucas is just. I won't say he's got away, but there's some daylight between them, you know, just enough for him to probably take a bit of pressure off him and drive the lines he wants to drive. The man out in front, as ever, is Archie, who's really sort of extending that lead at the moment, albeit he's had 15 minutes in, and for regular viewers, they'll know 4 seconds. He's maybe not pulled out as much of a lead as he might have done on some other circuits. So he'll be taking it steady, because obviously Archie will be mindful that it's 2-hour race and it's damage that's could wreck the race tonight. Not so much, you know, racing with somebody, but it's very easy to make a mistake even when you're out on your own on this track if you're pushing as hard as these guys do.
Yeah, so James Hartnell closing on Dave Hedges. The gap was around 0.7 of a second. It's now down to just over 0.3 as they go down towards the far part of the circuit. And Lukasz Kakos hasn't gotten that far away, if I'm completely honest. I think 1.5 seconds around here. And the Lamborghini, you know, look at it from this perspective. Okay, it's a different... When people say, yeah, Lamborghini, they're all Audis underneath. Well, yeah, but they're very different dynamically. You know, the Lamborghini has a harder, stiffer setup in comparison with, say, an Audi R8 LMS. So... You know, when you have the Italian Bull versus Ingolstadt's finest of the 4 rings battling on circuit, you know there's going to be 2 different sides to every story.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, you know, just going on that gap of 1.5, speaking from my experience when I drive, if I've got a second lead, it doesn't matter if it's 1.2, 1.5, whatever. Once it hits that second, you feel like you've broken the driver behind you. You've got rid of that toe almost, and you do relax a bit more, and you do start driving your own lines. It's very much psychological, which is obviously it's a big part of the race driving character.
Yeah, so we go on board with Jeffrey Wolf in the Car Guy Racing number 86 AM-rated Ferrari 488 GT3. Jeffrey's currently in 13th position behind the 2 battling up ahead. Mark Neutling's in 11th in the 666 Team Parker liveried Bentley Continental GT, and then Adam Isalovic. We also did have a note from Gavin Utley, the other Bentley Continental GT3 driver. He said, good luck for the race, chaps. Gutted I could not be with you tonight. Well, hopefully we'll have you back at some point. And I've just seen on the timing screens, Bliv AK has just turned up.
Late arrival indeed in the pits. Obviously going to be a few laps down, but hey ho, let's see what he can do. Maybe he's going to put some laps in, and let's not forget the top 20 score points. I'm not quite sure what the stewards will make of that for a late arrival, whether he'll qualify for any points or not, but we shall see.
Well, is he? Well, my biggest question is, Steve, is he entered for the October 3rd charity event?
He is indeed.
That's perfectly a good idea, because at the end of it, what's happening is that he's now going to get nighttime running, and that's perfect practice. They do say that practice makes perfect. So in many respects, I don't think it's such a bad thing. Yeah, just let Bliv AK come and join the party. But then he's dropped off the timing screen on the left-hand side. So I'm not too sure what's happened there, but this is a great battle now, because Regan Mitchell is now behind Chris Crossman, it seems.
Yeah, in very close attention of Chris Crossman. He's pushing still and taking quite a lot of curb there, as we see. But Chris is doing well to hold that Mercedes behind him at the moment.
Yeah, so looks like Joao Diaz and Reese Wiggin have gone into the pits. Diaz is already out. Wiggin looks to also be, I think he'll probably be getting through the latter stage of his first pit stop. As this is a great battle. This is one of the things I love about Simsport racing, where we call it effectively the place to race. Head to simsport-racing.com for further information, how you can get involved, find out about our social media channels, so YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We do have a Facebook group. We also have a Discord server, so you're more than welcome to join it. I mean, we've got nearly close to the best part of 40 sign-ups for Season 2 GT4, as Adam Isalovic gets a really good run on Mark Neutling's coming out of the bus stop chicane on the run down to La Source, but the Bentley, with just that sheer grunt, manages to keep ahead of the prancing horse from Maranello. Again, you can just see that, as I keep on saying, Steve, and as I keep on enjoying working with you guys here at Simsport Racing, just the cleanliness of some of the battles. This one between Mark and Adam is just absolutely priceless. I mean, you don't get any closer than that.
No, I mean it's credit to all these guys that are racing, because they do all put so much practice in. But they don't go off on their own and practice. They are on our servers, which are live 24/7. They jump on there and they're practicing together. Excuse me. And when we're in practice sessions, they will, as I was trying to make a move on Mark there, but Mark's defended him very well. Although the Bentley's looking very loose, it has to be said. But just, they practice together, and instead of just hot lapping, they'll say, "Come on, guys, let's go run some laps." And when they say that, usually 4, 5, 6 of them will just go out and run nose to tail as fast as they can. Just practicing running closely together, because it is a totally different ball game when you're within a couple of tenths of each other. The braking zones, everything's totally different, and it's good that, like I say, respect to the guys, because they all put the practice in, which leads to this great spectacle that we're seeing tonight.
So, into the first 20 minutes, we now have gone 9 o'clock local time, 21 hours, 2100 hours, as nighttime fast coming in. Headlights now ablaze on both Mark Neutling's car and Jeffrey Wolf's, and I'm sure that Adam Isalovic's ones will be on very, very shortly too. So the darkness falling here rapidly at Spa-Francorchamps. Archie Clifford Roberts still leads by 4.5 seconds from Lukasz Kakos. Dave Hedges, James Hartnell, Chris Pinchbeck round out the top 5 places. Chris Crossman, Regan Mitchell, Dean Riley, Peter Robar, who's returned again in the number 32 Audi, now rounding out the top 9 positions ahead of Rich Smith in the sole number 76 Lexus RCF GT3. Mark Neutling's you're right about the 666, that the back end just seems to be a little bit twitchy, especially if Mark puts the power down early. That can actually come back to bite you quite hard here at Spa.
Yeah, that's going to get worse for Mark, I believe, as the temperatures drop. I mean, I'm guessing I may be wrong, and Mark will correct me, because he's not a shy guy. But
yeah, we know that.
The way the car's handling, it's looking like he's running very little downforce on that back end. Obviously, to maybe maximise his speed up at the top here and down the Camel Straight. As if the Bentley needs any help with that. But it's going to get. I think it will get worse as it gets colder, and the temperature has dropped now down to 13 degrees on the track. So it is, as it gets darker, it is getting cooler. So things are changing.
But look at the rate of knots that Adam Isalovic actually closed up on Mark Neutling's, as James Hartnell now trying to close on Dave Hedges, and not too far behind is that's Lindsay in the number 21 Porsche, I believe, who's now circulating in 21st position. Liv AK in the 747 Nissan GTR GT3 showing up in the pits again. I wonder if he's having a bit of a 2 and 8 with someone going, I want to join the server. Yeah, but you were late.